What if I told you one of the best ways to heal joint pain is to do nothing at all? Just kidding. Then I'd be like every doctor who tells their patients if something hurts just to stop doing it, as if that'll do anything except make them weaker. As anyone who follows this channel knows, you have to work with your joint pain if you want it to get any better. Emphasis on work. Physical stress is the only thing that can remodel damaged joint tissues permanently and restore lost function. That's not my opinion. That's biomechanics. The problem is that most people don't know how to start and worry that they'll hurt themselves worse. And they should. You absolutely can make bad joints worse if you train them wrong. In fact, bad training habits are how many people get their joint pain in the first place. You don't. Whatever the cause of your joint pain, exercise science has shown us the best place to start your journey out of it is with the two strength training versions of doing nothing. And that's isometrics and self-massage. Isometrics are strength exercises where the muscles are engaged but the body doesn't move. That's what we mean by do nothing. This can involve simply holding a position to fatigue or pushing and pulling against an immovable object. There are a ton of reasons isometrics are so powerful for joint repair, but the one we'll focus on here is specificity. The fact is, most people don't experience joint pain through the entire range of an exercise. They typically have just one area or one spot, somewhere in the middle of the range that really triggers their pain. That's where you need to concentrate your effort, and nothing concentrates effort on one spot better than isometrics. Take split squats for an example. I've performed thousands of split squat tests with my joint repair clients, and the ones with bad knee pain typically trigger it between 80 and 110 degrees of flexion, where the knee is at its most mechanically disadvantaged. This is true whether they have a torn meniscus, a ruptured ACL, osteoarthritis, or anything else. From there, we prescribe isometric split squats held just above the pain trigger. Here's how that works. Using an assist, the client clenches their leg muscles tight and begins squatting down very, very slowly. It has to be slow so we don't trigger their pain at a level higher than 3 out of 10. Which is easy to shoot past if you move too quickly. Once they find the 3 out of 10 border, they switch to an isometric and hold the position until their muscles reach moderate fatigue. If they're squeezing hard enough, this takes about 15 to 45 seconds. From there, they carefully and slowly deload the knee, avoiding the concentric. This is important. The changeover from eccentric or isometric back to concentric is the most stressful at the knee joint and has the most potential to cause a flare-up. The easiest thing to do is just avoid it for now. Once they've exited the position, they shake their legs off for 10 to 15 seconds and then perform a second set just as slowly and see if they can hold the same position but a little bit lower and a little bit further into knee flexion. If they did their first set correctly, they find they usually can go deeper into the position before hitting the same 3 out of 10 pain trigger. Why is this? For one thing, the first set warmed up the tissues around the knee, meaning the muscles are filled up with blood and the knee capsule is flush with synovial fluid, all of which stabilizes and supports the knee against heavier loading. On top of this, the nerves in and around the knee have been hit with a cocktail of hormones that desensitizes them, meaning they too are temporarily able to accept more load. The more load we use, the higher the collagen synthesis signal we can generate to repair joint tissue. This process is known as mechanotransduction, which we'll do a longer video about soon. Promise. The takeaway here is that isometrics allow you to apply mechanotransduction to weak areas with incredible precision. This also gives us a measurable way to judge progress. If your isometric squats are triggering pain, but at progressively deeper and deeper joint angles, eventually you'll reach the end of your joint range with no pain, and at that point you've more or less healed the dysfunction. So obviously it's not accurate to say isometrics are doing nothing. In fact, they can be pretty intense. But the power in loading a weak joint position and then not moving and letting mechanotransduction do its magic makes isometrics the go-to loading strategy for early joint repair work. Next, self-massage. Getting a massage is great, but it's also expensive, time-consuming, and all it really does is temporarily release muscle tension. If you want massage to have a deeper, more permanent effect, you have to do it consistently and pair it with your movements. Why? A whole bunch of reasons you can learn about right here. But here's the Cliff Notes version. Massage locally desensitizes nerves and helps break down fascial adhesion, both of which allow us to apply more load to our movements, which elicits a higher mechanotransduction signal, resulting in more collagen synthesis, which heals your joints faster. Got it? Targeted massage speeds up this whole process, and if you're really good at it, it only takes about 45 to 60 seconds to deliver these effects in between your sets of movement. Here's how. During your movements, pay close attention to specific areas that feel tight, sharp, blocked, sensitive, whatever. Pick one, and that's what you massage. For example, during a set of cactuses, one of my favorite shoulder and upper back rehab exercises, I noticed that the outside of my left shoulder has a sharp ache. At the conclusion of the set, I immediately grab a tennis ball, head over to a wall, and begin gently applying pressure to the outside of the shoulder, looking for the same spike in sensitivity I felt during the movement. Once I find it, I stop, take a deep breath, exhale slowly, and apply more pressure as I focus on relaxing the tissues around the ball. In this sense, I really am trying to do nothing, meaning I'm completely disengaging the muscles around the sensitive area. This can be tricky because as the pressure increases, you'll hit a threshold where the muscles will try to contract and resist the ball. This is where the exhale comes in. When you feel that initial resistant muscle contraction, you intentionally exhale to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, which relaxes the body and helps disengage the muscles under pressure. This lets the ball sink in further, which will cause yet another contraction, which you also exhale through, relax, and then sink down to the next level and the next level. Doing this 3 or 4 times over 1 minute is usually enough to achieve a local desensitization of the area and even release several layers of fascial adhesion, which you can sometimes even feel as these strange fluctuating or unraveling or unsticking sensations coming from deep inside the muscle tissue. This is your fascia remodeling itself in real time. I can tell this has all happened when I go back to the cactus and I can feel my left shoulder is much less sensitive as I move through it than in the first set, which means I can safely engage the shoulder muscles even harder and push even deeper into fascial restriction, breaking them up with movement just like I did with the massage while generating higher mechanotransduction signaling. This sets up a virtuous cycle where movement highlights areas to massage, and then massage creates more space to move through, which then gets you to the deeper areas to highlight for massage. So that's why the two do-nothing protocols of isometrics and massage are such great starting points for joint repair. And they also have no upper limit. They remain effective throughout the life of your practice, even as you progress to more dynamic forms of strength training. And if you do get hurt again, you can always fall back on them to help pull you out of whatever new hole you've dug for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and maybe subscribe. It helps the channel and cleans up your algorithm, which is good for mental health. See you next time.